San Paolo in here? I know nothing about San Paolo pizza. What the hell is that?
So we went to South America, one, because from a historical perspective, a lot of people aren't aware that when a lot of Italians immigrated in the late 1800s to early 1900s, they went not only to the States, but they also went to South America.
Yeah.
And so both Sao Paulo and Buenos Aires both have very strong pizza cultures, with pizzerias also that are ancestral to the same time as when
The
we
ones
think
in
the
New
ones
York,
here
yeah.
in the city and everywhere else. So it was really interesting. They like a lot of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some interesting things too, like pizza is only eaten at dinner. So like at lunchtime, pizzerias are not open. You go in and the pizzerias are served to you with a knife and fork. So it's very, white tablecloth,
Okay.
knife and fork, sit down dinner. It's very popular on Sunday. So it's kind of like the Sunday meal for Italians and now Sao Paulo Paulinistas. Yeah, that's what they say.
Paulinistas.
I know, I'm like, I know the name. They have a special name. So yeah, it's really interesting. But then there's also, really big football culture, soccer culture around
Sure,
pizza.
yeah.
Huge down there. They also love a lot of cheese.
What kind of cheeses do they use?
That I don't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember.
Is it like a thick pie or?
No, it's like
what is it?
I'll show. I think there's one.
Oh
in
yeah,
here.
we're gonna get to see. We're opening the sacred text, everybody.
I think there's one. I can't remember if
Turn
there's a
on your
picture of it in
YouTube
here.
video right now. The sacred text is open.
No, I don't think there's a picture of it in Sao Paulo. But yeah, I mean, there's super thin crusts.
Okay,
in Sao
thin
Paulo.
crust, really?
Really, really thin. Like
Really?
like cracker thin.
Okay.
We actually have a recipe in the book for Brazilian style thin crust pizza, which is rolled.
Rolled with a rolling pin,
Yes,
super thin crust.
super thin.
Is it in a wood-fired oven?
So, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
But they're old. They kind of have to be
a lot
at
of
some
them are.
point.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix. Like the older ancestral ones, yes.
Right.
But then they also use, there's like fina, which is like a chickpea dough that they put on top of the pizza slices. So they call it a caballo, which is on horseback. But it's fina, which if you're in Sicily, there's something called, I don't think it's called
Panappanelli.
Fainetta. I think
Okay.
I was actually talking to Frank Pinello about this a couple days ago.
Right.
But it's a very well-known, like something you would get at a bakery.
Okay.
But they put it on top of a slice of pizza. So it's a chickpea flavored slice on top of your slice of pizza.
That's kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah. But I mean, who's
Did you
to say
guys
it's
do
right or wrong?
Argentina at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know OG Papa Fern. I'm sure have you ever, you don't
No.
know OG Papa Fern?
Do not.
Oh my God, you got to meet OG Papa Fern. So OG Papa Fern is, his family had a pizzeria in Argentina and he does Argentinian pizza. He, came over the house and made it a few times. Like I had never had it. It was pretty cracked out. Like it was really, really, really good. We obviously we were using like, we used a traditional pan to make it, but it's a thick crust. It's round.
The al molde
It's got
is what
tons
they
of-
call it.
Yeah, it's got tons of
Thick.
cheese.
That's the one that I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
the cheese. And then did he put the mayonnaise on top?
He didn't put the mayonnaise. He makes there's three of them that he makes. One's like a ham and olive. Another one has sauce.
So with the olives.
The green olives.
Green olives, and they weren't pitted, right? They were whole.
Yeah.
Which
exactly.
is so weird.
Yeah,
And they-
exactly. You got to
and
like
they-
pit the olive
And
as
they
you're
roll
eating
off
it.
your pizza.
Yep. It's pretty wild. OG is he's definitely been trying to. I think he works at a school as like a day job, but he's been doing it since he was a kid, and he does pop-ups here and there. He's a really cool guy, but I was like, it almost reminded me the way that he made it. It almost reminded me of like a really good Detroit style pizza.
So it's really funny that you say this because the al molde pizza, we have a recipe for al molde, how to make it. It has a little bit of cake flour in it, which is different than a Detroit style pizza, and it's round. But if you go to Chicago, so you have the Chicago deep dish world, like a Uno's pizzeria, but then you also have Burt Katz's, Burt's Place, who's like Pequod's, which is a lot like the al molde Argentinian pizza dough.
Is that like the cast iron pie? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Something like that?
And it's round.
Right.
But it's thicker. It's kind of like white bread, you know? It's like a thicker, airy, a little airier than the Detroit, I think, or actually like denser, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, they're so similar. In fact, we talk about that in the book of how like, who knew that this Argentinian style would be so similar to this kind of Chicago style?
Right. No, 100%. Like the more and more I travel around, it's like you see these styles of pizza all around America. But now that I've been looking at Italy, it's like, have you had that like thin crust Roman in Rome that's like everywhere? Like it's
Legata,
much more popular than Pizza Italia.
Yeah,
as far as the number of places now.
Yeah, Legata Mangione. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's in Rome.
I haven't.
It's amazing. They've been around for a long time. It's wood fire oven. It's what they say is like it's a little crispier. That's what.
Yeah.
It's like Stefano Caligari as well. He's really well known for the cacio e pepe pizza at Swane.
The guy who puts the ice cubes on it.
Yeah, we went and saw that. That was awesome. Beautiful pizza. But yeah, so that's kind of the precursor to having Al Taglio, which is another Roman pizza. Like if you say Roman pizza, what's in your head? Like
I mean, now
first?
it's different. Well, what originally popped up first was Metro.
Yeah.
So back in the day, going back to, I don't know, I was probably 21 years old. So, I don't know, 15 years ago. There was a guy, Salvatore Olivella, who claimed to be from Naples, but I didn't know how to slap, didn't know how to do any of that. We didn't even know what that was back then. Like we had no idea. Yeah, we had no idea about any of this stuff until like Giulio and Roberto Caparuccio came out on the scene, and then like that started to like proliferate. But he had opened a place that's still there called Numero Vendotto, number 28 in the West Village, right next to Ketste. And they were like, oh, yeah, this is what we do in Naples. And they taught me, like, they were like, here, you got to do it like a violin. And it's the pizza metro style. And we were cooking it in the wood-fired oven. And we'd either have, like, long. One. Yeah, it was long.
A beater.
And, yes. And they would say, like, they would tell me these stories. Like, they'd be like, oh, in Rome, you buy pizza by the kilo. And this is what they have. And blah, 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 blah. So originally, that was it. And then, I mean, we only started seeing Pizza Al Taglio, I don't know, what, 5 or 6 years ago for the first time? Like,
yeah, Bonci. Like, as soon as Gabriele Bonci, kind of also a baker, started making pizza and Pizzerium opened, and then it was like rave reviews for pizza in Rome. Like, that's what people equate to for Roman style pizza. Most people, when I ask
is that like the
Roman,
first one that was doing Taglio?
No.
Or no, it wasn't. Somebody else was doing
so
it.
there's this guy, lesser known outside of Italy, Iezzi is his last name, and Bonci
Angelo
Iezzi,
yeah.
So he actually started with high hydration doughs. And so even Bonci, if you talk to him, he credits Iezzi as an inspiration for making his.
Right.
But again, it's a baker that started making these Al Taglio pizzas. We talk about it in the book. There's a little bit of differentiation where Iezzi actually keeps the toppings and warms them up all together, where Bonci actually takes the toppings off, warms the base, and then puts the toppings back on.
Okay.
So there's kind of two schools of thought, but the base is very similar. It's par baked and topped and beautiful. Both of them have strengths. But yeah, so like nobody knows about this Iezzi guy. Like I had read about him.
We know about him. He's in like the API or something like that.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of people don't. Like everyone's like, oh, Gabriele Bonci, like he's the first one, and it's like, no. Like there's been pizza in Rome for a long time.
So when is Angelo from? You think like the 70s, 80s, 90s?
So he started his school around the 80s.
Okay. And he was teaching Roman style. I know that's his main jam is teaching.
It was about the same
pizza.
time as AVPN. Like that's the kind of continuum. It's like they both started. AVPN kind of started and API kind of started at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. It's
and Iezzi's like too. Like Bonci is really close to the Vatican.
Okay.
So of course for like Turista's exposure, like he's right there in the main drag, where Iezzi is like out in a neighborhood, so you have to go out there. Same with Stefano Caligari, like his places are not quite like right in the city. Trapezzino, I think, is like the closest one that's in the city.
And that's the same Trapezzino that
was here,
in the Lower East Side.
Exactly.
It closed down, right?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think the one's here anymore.
Right.
But
that place was great. I just think,
it's like little sandwiches.
bro, it was so fucking good. I'm like a Lower East Side stomping ground kid, and the problem is people just didn't get it.
Well, it's like pizza frita. Like the only person that makes pizza frita here in New York is Roberto at Keste.
And they don't make a lot.
No, and every time I come to see him, he's like, "Oh, you have to have pizza frita," which I love because only time I really get it is when I'm in Naples, where it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But like, why? Like, why? Like, we eat funnel cakes at the fair every day.
I know exactly why. It's because these guys are terrible at communicating their message to Americans.